yogis. My name's Daniel Cumming, aka the Yogi Bunny. I'm here in the absolutely amazing mountainous countryside of Johnston, Vermont. So I thought I'd take the opportunity to film a little yoga flow for you today. So we might do a little bit of core strengthening today. So we'll start off on our backs. I'll get you to start off with your feet flat on the ground. And then walk them up towards the hips. Now, before we start, I just want you to, if you haven't done pelvis strengthening and activation before, I just want you to quickly take the hand down to about 3 fingers width, lower than your belly button. Now, how you can test if this is activated, you can actually make a coughing sound and you feel that little activation, that tensing of the muscle there. So I just want you to maybe try to activate that. If you're familiar with the pelvic activation, that's fine. But if you haven't before, that might help you. So it might be a tricky muscle to activate if you haven't really done it before, but just try to keep conscious of that at least during the flow. So we're just going to start by taking our hands up nice and long. So I really want you to ground down through the feet. Raise your arms up over your head. And I just want you to press down into the left foot while you raise your right foot up. So inhale, point the toe. Exhale, flex the foot. So the leg doesn't have to be straight. It can be a bit bent in the knee if you like. So inhale, point. Exhale, flex. Good. Inhale, point. And then as you flex this time, press away with that right foot while you bring your knee in towards the belly. Inhale, point. And then exhale. So I really want you to get that pushing motion with the foot as you bring that right knee in. Just 2 more times. Inhale, point. So you're really tensing that pelvis as you draw in. Good, we'll swap legs. So right foot pressing down nice and firm. Inhale that left leg out. Point those left toes. And then as you flex, really try to press as if you're pressing into a pedal or kicking something. So inhale, point the toes, and then exhale, flex and draw that left knee in towards the belly, but while tensing that pelvis. Inhale up, exhale down. Inhale. One more time. And bring it in. So you really should feel that firmness at that point underneath your belly button. So this time we're going to keep the right leg straight this time. So if you still want to bend it, that's fine. But if you can, press down through that left foot. Inhale, reach up nice and high. And then exhale, lower it down. So I want you to keep pressing that left foot into the ground and keep the hips grounded. So we don't want that right hip to lift up too much. So inhale, point the toe. Exhale, flex, bring it down. We'll do 1 more of those. And down. Nice, switch around. So right foot down, left foot up. Inhale, point the toes and lift. Exhale, bring it down. Good. You can bring both knees up. Just give them a little gentle hug. Rotate the hips around a little bit. And then taking the arms out to the side, and we're just gently going to shift the legs side to side. So we don't want them to go all the way down, maybe halfway down at the most. Still trying to keep that pelvic activation. Good, and we're just going to pedal the feet out a little bit. So keeping the arms down, we're just going to shift around and try to keep that drawing in underneath the belly button as we're pedaling the feet. Good, just a couple more. Nice. Bring the knees back in, tuck one ankle over the other. We're going to roll back and forward, and we're going to come up into boat pose. So as you rock up, I want you to lift, point the feet, take the arms out to the side. So you can rest the hands just underneath to help you lift up a little bit if you like. Try to keep the crown of the head up. You can inhale, lengthen out. Exhale, bring it in. And nice. Crossing the legs. I'm going to bring the hands into heart center. Inhale, lift up, arms out wide, nice and high. Exhale, bring it in. Good, interlace the fingers, elbows rise, lift through the chest. And exhale, press the hands out, tuck the chin in, open up in between the shoulder blades. Inhale, lift, nice and high. Good, so we're going to stay here. So we're going to take a little bit of a side bend. So I want you to ground down through that left hip and then lean over towards the right. You can take that right hand to the outside of that left wrist and maybe just reach up. So draw that right hand around the left wrist and raise up to the ceiling a little bit. Good, swap around. So taking that side bend to the left this time. So really trying to ground down through the hips, the right hip especially when you're leaning left, and then try to draw that right arm up and over. So not just going for that bend, but we want to lengthen, create that big arc of the bend. Still, if you can, drawing that pelvis in. Good, and then release the hands. We're going to take the hands in behind, interlace the fingers, inhale, draw the chest up. And then drawing the hips back, leaning the chest forward, just lowering down. So keeping our arms as they are. And just relax the neck a little bit, nodding yes, shaking no. You can rock side to side a little bit. Good. And we're going to lift up. Inhale the hands, and we're just going to take a little bit of a twist side to side. So left hand, right knee, right hand in behind. Just look gently over that right shoulder. Good. Next inhale, taking the right hand up. And then as we exhale, we're going to cross the arms over. So right hand onto the left knee. Then we're going to come into eagle arms. So if you can't do eagle arms, you can simply just put the backs of the forearms or the hands together if you like. Otherwise, if you can, binding that left hand right inside the right arm. There we go. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, curl everything inwards. So really open up in between the shoulder blades. Draw the elbows down towards the belly. Inhale, lift up nice and high. Exhale, bring it all in. One more time. Good. We really want to try to keep the muscle activation of that pelvis all the way through this flow. So inhale, lift. And then exhale, twist to the other side. So right hand, left knee. That left hand just comes in behind the body. Look gently over that left shoulder. Lengthen through the crown of the head. Good. Next inhale, lift that left hand up. Exhale, cross that over to the right knee. Inhale, bind the arms. Remember, you can just press these together, and then you can lift up and down like that. You can maybe hold the thumb with your two fingers. Whatever feels right. You can always just put the hands together and still do this inhale, expansion, contraction if you like. So you can always do the expansion, contraction like that. But we're going to go for eagle arms because we're going to use the eagle later in the flow. So inhale, lift, exhale, bring it all together. Last one. Inhale, lift, drive through the fingers, and then exhale, release the arms, sweeping up, putting the hands to palms together. A little bit of back bend here, drawing down through the hips, activating, drawing the pelvis in. Good. And then coming up and over into downward dog. So stepping the feet back, walking the hands. Now remembering, if this does get too intense for your shoulders for whatever reason, you can lower to the knees, and you can do most of this from the knees. But if you can, spreading the fingers nice and wide, pressing to the fingertips, lifting the hips up and back, so you're drawing the backs of the thighs to the back of the room and lifting them up. The heels are drawing down towards the mat, but they don't need to be flat on the mat. And then the chest is just slightly drawing towards the thighs. Head trying to relax. Just going to pedal it out a little bit here. Good. We're going to inhale forward into a high plank. So pressing the feet back, lengthening out the crown of the head. So again, if this is too intense, you can lower to the knees. I want you to really draw it back. We're going to take an inhale, lower the knees down to the mat, and lower the entire body. Nice and slow, rolling down vertebrae by vertebrae. We're going to come into locust pose. So we'll roll our shoulders around, palms facing down or up, your choice. I prefer palms facing down. Chin tucked in slightly, and then lengthen the crown of the head up. Lift the chest, lift the feet, legs, and breathe. And then lower the hands, framing the chest, tuck the chin, press up onto the knees, tuck the toes, back up into your downward dog. Good, we're going to inhale the right leg up and back, three-legged dog. So I want you to really press away with that foot. And then we're going to curl the right knee underneath the body. So as you exhale, the right knee comes underneath the chest, just leaning forward. And then inhale it back up. Good. We're going to bring the right foot all the way in between the hands into a high lunge this time. So inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, right foot in between the hands. Keep that back leg strong. You can press through that front leg. The back toes are facing directly forward in line with the front. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, sink in. We're going to straighten that front leg and rise. And then exhale, bend into it. You're now taking a bit of a back bend this time. So you're really driving forward with that back foot and then countering that with that front foot. Good. And then sinking in. Good. One more time. Directly up. And then exhale down. We're going to come into standing splits now. So we'll lower the hands down, press into the right foot, grounding down through that right heel and pressing that left foot away. So the fingertips of the hands can be on the ground. The toes of the left foot are facing the mat. So you can begin to lift that back heel up a little bit more at a time if you want. Breathing into it. And then beginning to lower that left foot down. We're going to step that right foot back into three-legged dog again. We're going to bend the right knee and just open up that right hip a bit. And then we're going to bring that right knee to the right elbow. So inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, bring it to that elbow. Good. Inhale, lift. And then exhale underneath the chest again. Good. Inhale, bring it up. And then exhale, float it down. Pedaling out the feet a little bit. I'm going to look forward and either walk or float the feet up to the front of the mat. Good. Inhale, lift, brush the shins, flat back. Exhale, forward, press through the feet, lift up, hands nice and wide. All the way, and then exhale, hands down through heart center. Good, I want you to bend the knees a little bit. Really get this sweeping motion in, up and around. And then exhale it down. Good. One more time. Inhale up. And then we're going to swan dive down. So hands out to the side or in front. Bending at the waist. Slight bend in the knees all the way down. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, step both feet back into a high plank position. And then either via full plank or via the knees, lowering down to the mat. I like to lower down, even if you're doing it via your full plank. So I like to lower down and then maybe just drop your hips if it's a little bit much on the shoulders. I'm going to move into cobra this time. So we're going to take our hands nice and wide, press into the fingertips. Press down to the tops of the feet. Inhale, lift the chest. Tuck the chin, roll up. Exhale, rolling down. 2 more times. So inhale, press up through the thumb and first finger, rolling up vertebrae by vertebrae. And then exhale, rolling down, pressing to the pinky fingers a little bit more. One more time. And then lowering down. Tucking the chin, framing the chest, lifting back up. Good, back through your downward dog. I'm going to come to the other side of that high lunge flow. So we'll take our left foot up and back, three-legged dog. Nice. Just focus on pressing that left foot away, really lengthening out. Then the next exhale, we're going to bring that left knee underneath the chest. Good, inhale, nice and slow, back up. Then we'll bring that through the hands into the lunge on the exhale. Shuffling that right foot up if you need to, grounding down through the left, pressing off that right foot as if you're about to go for a run, coming away from that thigh with the chest, making sure both sets of toes are facing forward, making sure that the ground you've put your yoga mat in is level. Inhale, lift. Good, so we're going to just flow here. So inhale, straighten that front leg. Just have a bit of a bend in the knee. And really try to counter that forward and back movement. Squeezing, scissoring everything to the middle. One more time, lifting up. And then lowering the hands down, meeting that left foot. Pressing into the left heel, stepping that right foot up and back, nice and long. Lifting that back heel up a little bit more, making sure the toes of the right foot are facing the mat. And then we can just lower that right foot down, step that left foot up and back. Then we're going to bring that left knee to the left elbow. Inhale, back up. Exhale, bring it underneath. Inhale it up, bending the left knee and then opening up through the hip. Good, we're going to take a couple of side planks now. So we'll lower that left knee back. And we're going to roll onto our left side. So left hand and the outer blade of that left foot. So we're going to reach our right hand up. So if this is too intense for you, you can lower that left knee and come into a baby side plank. Otherwise, you can take that full side plank. Lifting up, you can stack the foot, maybe one in front of the other. You can lift up. You can take a bit of a tree variation. Breathing in, lifting those hips up a little bit. Maybe using jazz hands. One more breath in. Then we're slowly going to roll around to the other side. So draw that pelvis in to protect the spine as you rotate around to the other side. Remember, you can always lower that right knee if you need to. Feel free to take any variations you took on the other side. And always know that There's usually a stronger side and a weaker side. Should never neglect the weaker side. And then gradually revolving around. And then you can just lower down into child's pose. So you can take your hands out in front if you like. Nice. Palms by your side. And just sway from side to side a little bit. I'm going to roll all the way down, move into locust again. So in the belly, chest up, arms by your side, pressing the feet back. You can take your hands out to the side, or maybe out in front this time. I like to maybe pulse with the arms, inhale, lengthen them out. Exhale, bring them by the side. Good. Return the hands. Tucking the chin, rolling up nice and slow, returning to your downward dog. Good, we're going to look forward, stepping or floating to the front of the mat. Take your time, no rush. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Press through the heels, nice and high. Exhale, hands down. Good, so we're going to come into a bit of an eagle flow now. So all that eagle arms at the start will have prepared you for it. And again, if you can't do the eagle arms, you can put the hands together. Just give it a try. Eventually it will get there. And we'll do some shoulder mobility stuff at the end to help progress you to there. So we will start off on our right foot. So we'll lift our left foot up nice and high. We're going to really focus on drawing that knee up and then pressing, grounding down through that right leg. So we're just going to start here. We're going to draw that pelvis in. So maybe if you want to activate it by coughing again. And then really activate that. So that'll help draw that left knee over the right and keep it in. So it is quite a core strengthener when we're doing this right. So we're squeezing everything together, squeezing the thighs. Same with the legs. If you can't get it all the way across, just go for that. So as long as the intention's there, your body will adjust eventually. It takes time. So just try to squeeze everything in. If you can get that leg over the right, try to draw the thighs kind of in, like they're inwardly rotating. We'll take the arms. So we've got left leg over right. We're going to take left arm under right. So left arm sweeps underneath the right arm, taking whatever form of eagle arms you can. And then we're just going to bring awareness back to that right foot, grounding us down. Inhale, lift. And I like to lead through the fingers and then bring everything down. Inhale, lift up. And we're going to keep the arms, release that left leg. And we're going to rotate it around to a warrior 3 with eagle arms. So point those right fingers directly forward, pressing that left foot back. So facing the toes of the left foot down towards the ground. And then lengthen through that left leg, raise that left thigh up a little bit. Keep the gaze forward. Good. And then we're going to slowly release the arms. You can take them out wide. If you can, I want you to interlace the fingers in behind. Draw that those shoulders back. Lift the chest forward, crown of the head forward. Lift a little bit longer. A little bit more in. And then we're going to slowly lower the hands down, lower that left knee to the mat. Good, we're just going to take a little bit of a hamstring stretch. So just taking that right foot out a little bit to Hanumanasana. So it doesn't need to be anything too intense, just keeping it dynamic. Pretty much just giving that right leg a bit of love. You can maybe pat it down if you want. And always returning to that breath. So we're just going to turn this into a gentle lizard. So we'll take that right foot out to the side. You can have your hands nice and high, leaning forward. If you do want to go a little bit lower, you can lower the forearms down. Let's listen to your body. You don't need to have an intense one here. You won't be here for too long. Maybe keeping it dynamic, swaying from side to side. Well, no, especially when I'm in this low lizard, I want to curl the toes of the right foot off. It'll help protect the knee and activate the hip flexor a bit more. One more breath. And then walking the hands up. I'm going to shift that right foot around. We're just going to come into a baby wild thing. So we're just going to stretch out that leg. So rotate around so that right foot comes in behind the body. I just want you to lift up that chest. And rotate that wrist a little bit. Just a nice stretch. You can maybe make it more dynamic. You can inhale, take that right arm up. Exhale, sweep it around. And one more. Should feel really good. And then coming up and over. We're just doing the exact same thing on the other side. So we'll lift that left foot over. Make sure that you rotate on that right knee and have that foot come out so it's about 90 degrees to the front hand. That's where people get stuck in wild things sometimes. They kind of try to rotate around and they can't really get that rotation. So you want to take that right foot around with the rotation. And then you can just flow here. And then coming back onto all fours. Inhale, lift the chest, lift the hips, tuck the toes. Exhale, up and back, downward dog. Pedal it out a bit. And then we're going to come down to the mat again. So you can lower onto the knees, you can go full plank, your choice. You can get a lot out of just going via the knees, lowering down. We're going to come into a sphinx. So we're going to take our forearms flat on the ground, elbows tracking into the side of the ribs. So you want to create this backward tension. So the elbows are trying to get to the ribs. The ribs are coming forward, almost like they're coming in between the arms. So we're just going to release and twist a little bit first, just gently looking over each shoulder in turn. And then we're gonna move it into a plank position. So pressing down through the forearms. If you wanna use a dolphin hands instead, dolphin plank, you can interlace the fingers, make a triangle kind of shape in front. Otherwise, pressing down, tucking the toes, lifting the hips. So you wanna try to lengthen out as much as possible so you can draw everything up so you can feel it and you are stable. But you don't wanna come too far down where you're actually pinching on that lower spine. So try to find the middle ground here. It really helps to draw that pelvis in that kind of motion. You should be able to feel it while you're here as well. So staying here as long as you want. You can lower down and take the head to the hands if you want. Otherwise, breathing it out. And to finish it off, lifting, pressing, lifting, pressing, lowering. Nice. Countering it with the locust. Arms out, crown of the head forward, pressing back. You can maybe interlace the fingers here this time in your locust. Working your way back to your downward dog. We're going to make our way to the front of the mat, however you want to get there. Lifting, flat back, exhale, fold. Really ground down through the heels. Feel that wave of muscle activation all the way up, lifting the arms up. And then exhale it down. We're going to just roll your shoulders, shake it off a little bit. And we're coming to the other side of that eagle flow. So this time we're going to ground down through the left foot and raise our right foot up. Tucking in any microphone cords we may find. So grounding down through that left foot. Maybe pressing, I find a lot of people tend to bow out to the side. So if you ground down through the inside of the foot, it can actually help find that middle point of your balance. Some people don't, it might make it worse for you, but I just find that a lot. So lift that right knee up. Good, activate that pelvis, draw it in, lengthen through the crown of the head. And then we're gonna draw that right knee over the left thigh. Just wherever you can get to, just try to take that a little bit further, even if you need to readjust, so taking it off again, taking another breath. There's a real power and progression in breathing, moving in, breathing, moving in, inching that little bit further each time. I never even dreamt I could do this with my legs and arms, so it took me a while, but we can all get there eventually. So we'll take that right leg over the left, we'll take the right arm underneath the left. Good, take your time. Lift those fingers of the left hand up, and let that be your guide up. You can maybe find a center point for your focus. I like to imagine that my bottom foot, my grounding foot, is not above the ground, but actually rooted just below the surface of the earth. Helps me feel like I'm a bit more grounded, I suppose, like a tree. Visualization helps a lot, so you can find what works for you and just practice it, flow with it. And then we'll release that right leg. Rotate round, so leading through the fingers of the left hand. Let that be you pulling forward to counterbalance that right foot that's coming out in behind. Rotate the toes of the right foot, lifting up. You can activate that pelvis if you can. It might be a bit tricky in this position, but just try to lengthen out. So pointing the toes a little bit, but maybe keeping a little bit of flex. Lift that right thigh. And then eventually releasing the hands. Your choice, you can have them by your side out wide, or you can take that bind in behind if you did on the other side. And then very slowly releasing, lowering that right foot, lower down slowly onto the knee, and then take that foot out into Hanumanasana. So just keeping it flowing, not stretching it too far. If you've noticed that I've spliced in this little piece of video, it's because in the original video I watched it back and I actually forgot the Hanumanasana and lizard pose before the baby wild thing. So I just spliced it in, so we'll just pretend it never happens. Just flowing back and forward. And then we're going to transfer into lizard. So shuffling the left foot to the side a little bit, taking the left hand inside. So you can keep it high. You can lower down onto the forearms if you like. Again, keeping it moving, keep it dynamic. And then slowly walking the hands up, and then stepping that back into a baby wild thing again. So rotating around, opening up. Option to take it into a full wild thing this time. So if you're feeling a little bit more fiery, you can take that outer blade of the right foot, step that left foot in behind, and whatever you're feeling for. So you can keep this one dynamic as well. Really try to draw the belly button in, especially on the exhale. And rotating around to the other side. And slowly coming around and lowering down into child's pose. So you can take any other variations if you want to change it up a bit. I like taking my hands in behind my body, in between the legs, and just lowering the forehead down a little bit. Making sure most of your weight, though, is actually on the hips, not in the head at all. Just returning to that breath. And we'll lift up. Take a little bit of a back bend here. So I want you to squeeze your thighs together. We're going to move into camel. So roll the shoulders around. Hands come into the lower back. I want you to squeeze the thighs and try to roll them inwards a little bit, kind of like you're trying to press your butt back a little bit. And then lifting the chest. And you can lean back just slightly. Doesn't have to be anything too much. Nice, and we're going to come into a seated position now. So switch our legs around. And we're just going to do a little bit more core pelvic strengthening. So we're just going to take our hands to the side. I want you to ground down, so you don't have to have your legs straight for this. It might be a little bit much on the knee, but I want you to ground down through that left heel. I just want you to lightly lift and point the right foot. Just as long as you can, lowering it down. And then switch around. So pressing down through the hands, point that left foot, and raise up. And down, nice. So you can alternate with this. So you can lift, hold, and down. Lift, hold, and down. Or if you want, you can go both sides. If it hurts your wrist too much, you can actually press on the fingertips, or you can just have a fist down as well. Or you can do a full L sit, so you can lift up, and especially if you haven't done it for a while, and you can do that a couple of times. So again, if it's too much, just doing one at a time. You can also do a cross-legged L sit, even just lifting the hips and pelvis like that is fine. So just taking a few more, whatever you're feeling for. Good. And then we're just going to come into a bit of a seated twist. So we'll shuffle that left knee over a little bit, take that right foot around. Draw everything into the midline. Okay, we're going to let those hips fall to the right a little bit. So grip them in, but then just let them fall to the side a little bit. Lining up the hips. So inhale, left arm up. And then exhale, bring it around. can take that inside of the leg. Just make sure you're not forcing it, because you want to make sure that you're using the torso twist. So if you release your arm, you're still there. You don't want to release the arm and fall back. And I'm going to take that right leg all the way around into pigeon. Now, if this isn't okay for your knees, you can take a reclined pigeon, which I'll just show you quickly. That's simply coming onto your back, taking your left ankle to your right thigh, and then you can take your hands in behind there. If it is okay for your knee, finding pigeon pose now. So lengthening out that right foot, lifting the chest, breathing into the belly. And gradually lowering down. Good. And then we'll slowly walk the hands back to the chest. Step that left foot back into three-legged dog. Taking a little tuck of the knee underneath the chest. Inhale back up. We'll do that 2 more times. Last one. Good. And then replacing that left foot, doing the exact same thing on the right. So we're going to reverse the whole flow. So inhale up, exhale underneath. Make sure you grip into those fingertips. Take the pressure off the wrists. Last one. Nice. And then we're going to bring that into a pigeon. So right knee comes toward the right wrist, lengthening out that left foot. Enjoying the view before we come down into a pigeon. So lengthening out the chest, lowering down. And then walking the hands back. We're going to bring that into a seated twist. So we're going to lean towards the right hip. Left foot comes around to the outside. Draw everything into the midline, lengthen through the crown of the head. And then just let that left hip fall to the side a little bit. Just making sure we don't corkscrew the bottom half of the spine. You can ground down through the big toe of that left foot if it helps. We'll take our right hand up, inhale, and then exhale, twist it around. Slowly releasing, taking both legs out in front. I'm just gonna shuffle them a little bit. Okay, we'll take our legs nice and wide this time. I want you to lift the pelvis, lift the hips, draw the sit bones back a little bit. I want you to raise up, draw everything in, up, and then over. So you don't have to reach your feet. You can have your hands inside the legs, maybe outside, or even on the shins. So I just want you to focus on that, this scooping, lifting up and over motion. You're actually really strengthening everything here. Lifting. One more, and you can come into a bit of a fold if you want. Good. So you can have your hands out in front, hands to the toes if you like, the feet. You don't have your legs straight either. You can have your knees a little bit bent. It's completely fine. Strong through that back. And begin to roll up. We're going to take our feet up in the air. So we're going to have one last boat pose. So setting yourself up. You can take your hands underneath, hands to the side, hands up front, maybe hands up above. Lift. And remember, if you begin to shake, this is perfectly normal, especially if you're activating muscles that you don't usually use or you haven't used for a while. All these little synergistic muscles are activating, supporting those big prime movers. So shaking is perfectly normal, perfectly healthy. You can make it dynamic. Breathe through, nearly finish. 3 more. 3, 2, and 1. Lowering down the feet, lowering down all the way to the back. Vertebrae by vertebrae. And you can just take the feet up into a happy baby. So you're taking maybe the hands around the side of the feet, maybe around the toes. Lifting up, lengthening. You can press one foot up at a time. You might want to bring the knees down towards the armpits, heels up towards the sky. Maybe rocking back, forward, side to side a little bit. Then we're going to lengthen out the left leg. Take that right knee in towards the right armpit, so it doesn't have to go anywhere near, just moving that general direction. Making sure the left hip is grounded down and pressing that left foot away from you. Just making a few little rotations with that right knee. Just going to take a gentle twist to the left. So we'll make sure we shuffle our hips to the right a couple of times. And then knees just falling over to the left. Grounding down through the shoulders, looking over towards that right side. And slowly bring them back up. I'm going to press the right foot away this time, and then taking that left knee up towards the left armpit. Paying no attention to any mosquitoes that might be paying you attention. And it gets a bit darker. Just following the breath as it goes in to the lungs, circulating throughout your entire body. And then out again, making way for new, fresh oxygen. And coming into that gentle twist to the right. So shuffling the hips over to the left, knees fall gently to the right. Grounding down through the shoulders, taking the gaze over towards the left side. And then bringing everything back to center. Giving the knees a little gentle hug. Rotating around, massaging the lower back. And then lengthening out into Shavasana. So lengthening the legs, backs of the hands on the earth, palms facing up. And just simply beginning to notice the breath again. We're gonna let those last little bits of tension out of the body. So letting out all the air out of your lungs. And then as we inhale, squeeze the palms, squeeze the feet, everything head to toe. Big breath in. Out through the mouth, let it go. 2 more. Squeeze, breathe in, hold it a little bit longer. And completely release. Last one, focusing on the face this time. So clench your jaw, frown the face. Breathe in, hold a little bit longer, a little bit longer. And completely release everything into the mat, into the earth. Feeling your body begin to melt, sink. Every muscle from head to toe relaxing, becoming weightless. The breath deepening, becoming much more natural. The mind is just completely still. That water is completely calm. And just sinking, relaxing into Shavasana. There's nothing left to do. You're welcome to stay here as long as you want. I recommend staying here for at least 5 minutes. You can stay a lot longer if you feel it. And eventually making your way back through a seated position, carrying on with your day. Again, feel free to stay here as long as you feel necessary. Enjoy the rest of your day. Namaste.